Hello and welcome to Duck It. In today's video we're going to be putting this Raffia Grass on the boat here. Since the last video, which will be linked below where we did the boat frame, we have put this netting on. It's just a baseball catch net. It's nylon and it's rated for outside use. It was on Amazon. It was $90 and it's a 30-foot by 10-foot long section that we've cut to length on each side, so it gives us a little bit of overhang. We painted the blind just so it won't be shiny black. It did run out of paint, so if you see a little bit like on the back, it's not all the way finished, but I'll get that later. But for the sake of the video, we have the net here, and hopefully the weight of the grass will weigh it down a little bit. But this is, I ordered 55 pounds, but from the unboxing video I did, it actually turned out to be about 58.5 pounds. Doesn't look like much, but as we unfluff this, it apparently is supposed to go quite a long ways, so we will find out. If you have not already, please hit like, please hit subscribe. It only takes a second and it really does help the channel. We're all trying to learn from each other and get more ducks each season, so please share it with a friend or your hunting buddy. Let's get to it. All right, so to put this stuff on, just need to grab a little bit at a time, and it says on the box 4 to 5 foot in length for each one, so fold it in half and then just put it through there, and then with the little eye that you make, just pull it through, and it should stay looped on itself pretty well. And then let it hang down. From everything else online, they said that you're supposed to put the darker pieces on the bottom layer and then start to work your way out towards the lighter colors, just to make it more of like a backdrop underneath. And we're just going to put some thin layers on, kind of see how far this stuff actually gets us. This is one of these bundles, and I mean, looks like it'll get us a pretty decent bit, so we'll keep checking back in on how we're doing. This is after just one bundle of the brown. Took us maybe 20 minutes altogether. So from back here all the way out to here, and we have 25 total bundles. Now this is the low front wall. Back wall is a little bit taller, but still that's quite a bit of coverage, I'd say, for one of these bundles, so it does go a long way. This is after 3 of these bundles. Only 1 brown, 1 gray, and 1 green. And it is, I mean, mostly thickened up this. I mean, you can still see through it for sure, but this is, again, a 24-foot boat plus the overhang here at the front and the back. So we just have them layered in there. The key to it's going to be the layers and the different colors. Need to thicken it up a little bit more here, of course, and around the motor I'm trying to patch it up more. And then we've been going around the top part and coming down, but then also starting to add in some going inwards to make it not just a nice hard line, but otherwise this net just comes across here. It'll fold up when we're riding. But again, if you have a smaller boat than this, only 3 bundles has gotten us this far. And then so far I have kind of figured out a little technique for when you're doing this. You notice you have to, some of it's not going to be actually on there, so you have to kind of comb through it a little bit. And then you have your bundle to put in there. And so far we have not had any of these strands break on us. Like when we put it through here and we're pulling and tugging and weaving, like not one has actually cracked. Like it has been pretty sturdy and strong. It's not brittle at all, like when I tug on it. So happy with it so far. So we're gonna keep going until this side's done. All right, it's getting ready to be dark, and we have used every color on here. For right now, we're saying that this is pretty much good for this side. It still could maybe be a little bit thicker, but we want to end up doing the back wall and then the center sections that are going to drape across before we end up doing any more on this side. But all in all, I mean, it looks pretty good, I think. Tried to break up the top rail a little bit, so when we get towards the end, we're probably gonna try to use the last of it to fluff that up a little bit. We just want to see how it folds and rolls up. The trolling motor's right here. It's bright white, you can barely see that. But we're gonna thicken it up a little bit more, getting up here inside the boat. We're gonna have the other net piece from this side come across too, so it'll be extra thick up front. Try to break up the platform a little bit. We have the separate netting pieces. We have 4 of them. So we're gonna have one coming across here with the grass on it. We're gonna hunt normally 3 spots. So we're gonna have a divider with the net right here we already cut to length. And then we're gonna have the other net right here in between each hunter. And then we have one for the back frame right here. And again, this other back wall is gonna be draped across here as well. So the motor, it's already camouflaged, but break up the shape a bit. And then sitting here from the inside, so here's, if you had your gun, if they fly in down low, you could still get to them. And of course, if they're up high, hopefully it won't be too big of a space after the nets are draped across to fill in the big hole that we have in here. But otherwise, I mean, even both sides up, there'd still be plenty of room to be walking around until we put up those nets. Gonna have to finish the back wall either here at dark or tomorrow. But for today, that's gonna be about it for the videoing. We'll check back after we're on to the next side. So we did end up doing a little bit more after dark on the tall back wall. We finished the brown and the gray. We do still have half of a roll of brown left and an entire gray, which we're gonna do for those center dividers. And now we're gonna be on to green. And I was gonna show you just a few at real time. You pretty much just grab your little bundle. I kind of comb through, like I said, just to make sure any kind of loose strands like that, they would have just fallen right off. And then just fold it. Now that we kind of have the technique down a bit, just loop it through, loop it through. There's one there. And then when the pile's fresh and they're all actually nice and neat and in order, it's a lot easier. But then when you get towards the end of the pile, it's definitely harder to kind of get a nice handful. So then you just do that. That one's done. So there's been 2 of us working on this blind, and between the frame and the grass itself, I mean, it did take all of yesterday, which I knew it'd be at least an entire day project. But let's say we, as far as the grass itself, maybe spent 4 or 5 hours altogether to get the low wall plus after dark this one here. So that helps you with the time estimate. But again, this is a 24-foot boat. And if it's really, really long like this, what I've been doing too, because I don't want it to drape way too low into the water and end up getting ruined over time or lost. If you just kind of take the ends and you put it up into your handful, shortens it a bit. And then it should stay pretty snug and tight. Yeah, so just filling in the gaps, darker colors at the bottom, working your way to lighter. And what we learned on the other side too is that we want to have the lighter colors more on the top of the rail. The brown and the grays were starting to really kind of stick out a lot on that side, so we're putting the darker colors like lower on the wall and working our way up with the lighter colors as well. And then we're going to check back in after we get a few more colors on this side. We have mostly finished this back wall here. It took us quite a bit of time, so I didn't do as much filming, but it was just a repeat of what we did on the low front wall. It could maybe stand to be a little bit thicker, but we are going to see how much grass we do end up having left, and then we'll use the rest of it to touch it up or to break up this top wall here. I have it draped across, so the bright white trolling motor is right underneath here, but you can't see it. We did the inside wall as well, just so when the ducks are looking down on us, it's not so much of a straight flat wall. It's got some texture to it. We have the 4 nets here that we're going to use to fill in, again, like I've already said. And so we want to make sure that we do have enough to make sure that those are nice and thick, and then the rest of it, like I said, we'll use to kind of fill in the gaps that need to be, or to kind of stand up a little bit more to break up this line. But all in all, so far, this is after the first of those 4 nets that are going to be draped across, so that really just helps to break up the outline of the boat and not be so squared. We might even diagonal it a little bit more, but if we have extra grass, we might thicken it up a little bit better on the front. But hop up inside. Yeah, and we just have it clipped on here. We just had these laying around, so we're gonna get probably some bigger ones, and if they're too shiny, maybe we'll paint them. But then we have 2 up here. Yeah, and it's just the net scraps that we had laid that way, and like I said, we might need to thicken up a little bit better, but hide the platform a little bit more. But looking good so far. We are completely finished here. I'm gonna do a walk around. The trolling motor is right under here. And it's all bright white. We have the draped netting, front wall here. Tried to break up the rail a little bit at the very end. We have these bungeed to the motor, crisscrossed. And again, the netting right there. This will be down on the water, so it won't matter. Tall back wall. Again, maybe could be a little bit more dense, but normally this is going to be backed up against the bank, so not worried about that. Down to here. If we need to, we might be able to kind of shift that a little bit more centered. And then if I'm hopping up inside, platform wise, again, maybe a little bit, but I'm not worried. Down inside of here, let's see, we have these put up. I don't want to break it, but down inside here, we're gonna have a separate seat, but this is what it'd be like. It's a little bit open. Wish these maybe were a little bit thicker worth of net, but that's the leftover that we had. I think it'll be fine. And here, either sit there or back here. But I think you're pretty concealed if you're not moving around too much. I don't think we had one strand of this stuff break when we were pulling them, trying to tie it on. I mean, it's really sturdy. I can definitely tell that it should last quite a while. We used every bit of that 58.5 pounds from the previous video. I don't think we really needed any more, but I definitely wouldn't want any less. In the back here, if we really needed to hunt somebody extra, maybe they could sit there or on the nose. But I'm gonna spray paint this when I get back to the house. We just ran out of the brown paint. Overall, definitely happy with it. It all went smoothly. The parts list from the blind would be on the last video, but I'll link this Raffia Grass from Joseph Stern on this video. I mean, I'd recommend it so far. I'm gonna end up doing an end of the season review, see how it held up, and the frame itself as well. If you haven't already, please like, please subscribe. It really does help. Share this with your buddies. If you guys are trying to build a blind, ask them what they think of this. Again, there's a lot of different styles out there. I'd say depending on, you know, what your goals are, where you hunt, is what is going to be the best fit for you. For us, with the big wide boat, trying to fill it in a little bit, but I don't want it to be too enclosed. I don't like only having such a narrow shooting window. I like being able to see if a duck's coming from behind us. So for us, this is what made the most sense. It can fold right down and ride that way. These we just have clipped up here, and I'll get some more official clips before the hunt, but we're just going to store these, and then, like I said, give a review video at the very end. All right, and this is all of that grass folded down. We just doubled it on itself and have it tucked in. For right now, at least, we have one ratchet strap going all the way down to keep it from blowing out. Have a bungee cord wrapped around each seat, but I mean, it should ride pretty fine down the highway. If anything, I might get two separate of the truck cargo bed netting bungee cords. I have one, which I had originally planned for the boat if we have our creek boats and decoys and all that kind of here in the bottom portion of the boat, but I might need two of them. I don't know if one of them will quite do it, but it was pretty easy. I mean, we need two people to, for sure, to, you know, grab this end, grab that end, have the grass. It'd be about near impossible by yourself without it getting wet in the water, but it wasn't hard to fold down. Definitely happy with it. Each of those netting pieces we have stored in here. All four of them were able to fit, so it can neatly ride back to the dock and ride down the highway. Again, I know I ask all the time, but please hit like, please hit subscribe. It really does help, and again, share it with your hunting buddy. If you guys are looking for different blind styles, I mean, this is just one option. We'll see how it works this season. Thanks.